Welcome back, everybody. In this video, our focus is going to be the scales at the end of book 1 of your Sagreras method. Now, there are 2 pages worth of scales. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just going to stick to C major, but on your own time, go through all of them. It's just to practice your reading and practice reading reading in all of the different key signatures, remembering your sharps, remembering your flats, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's start with C. Let's stay with C, and everything I mentioned can be applied to all of the scales. Okay. So let's start with the right hand. For your scales in the book, the finger picking pattern on top says I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, so on and so forth. Okay. You can also start with your middle finger, still with the same 2 fingers, but by starting with your middle finger, you're creating another variation of that scale, forcing you to practice different instances of string crossings for your right hand. Okay, and you could do that with all of your pairs. So you could play the scale M and A like this, M A M A, and then A M A M A M, right? Starting with both of the fingers, and that'll create yet again more instances of awkward string crossings that you wouldn't have otherwise by starting with your middle finger. Okay, and then you have I and A. You could do I and A, I A, and then A, creating yet again more instances of awkward string crossings. Okay, you can also play the scale with 3 fingers in A, M, I. That's going to be awkward and a little confusing at first. A, M, I, so on and so forth. And because we have 3 fingers, now we have more instances, more variations. So we did A, M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I. You can also start with your middle. M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I, A. And you can start with your index. I, A, M, I, A, M, I. So 3 possibilities with these three fingers. You can also go in the opposite direction. I, M, A, I, M, A. I, M, A, I, M, A. You can also start with this one with your middle finger. M, A, I, M, A, I. And then your ring finger. A, I, M, A, I, M, A, I. Okay? We're not done. There are other possibilities, namely the thumb. P, I, P, I. P, I, P, I. Or I, P, I, P, I, P, I, P. Right? And then, of course, thumb and middle. P, M, P, M, P, M. Or M, P, M, P, M, P, M, P. So that's a lot of different combinations. You don't really need to do the thumb and the ring. We don't normally come across that. But if you want to be thorough, I guess you could practice that if you'd like. But that's not something I personally bother with. Okay, so all of these different patterns, and different order of the finger picking patterns are going to create again different opportunities for you to many possible combinations of awkward string crossings. So when you come across a piece of music that has some awkward string crossings, it's not a problem. I got it. Don't need to worry about it because I practice my scales every day and I run through all of the different finger picking patterns. Okay, so that's the right hand. The left hand, you can practice things like shifts. Let's see. In C major, for example, there's a shift here. G to A. So you can practice that. And then shifting back. Right? Close your eyes and do it. So that it sounds seamless. There's no break there. So that's something you could do for your left hand. You can also make sure that you're practicing with the proper technique, like you're not playing like this. Clearly, okay? Nice and parallel with the fretboard. And then the shift as well, okay? So that's the left hand. So now we can also practice our scales by adding some musical elements. We can practice crescendos and decrescendos with the scales. Playing piano, and then crescendoing to forte, and then working our way back down. Just like that. Okay, and then the opposite, starting forte moving through the scale back to down to piano, and then going back by playing from piano to forte. Just flip it, reverse it, is what I'm trying to say. You can also play the scales with different rhythms. Just for some variety. But everything is going to help in some way or another, okay? So those are just some of the ways that you can practice your scales. Really important, though, when you're practicing your scales, you're practicing them slowly, but also in a way that allows you, you're listening. You step away from yourself and you listen to what it is that you're actually playing. It's not enough to say, oh, the scale is easy. Why do I have to practice the scale? I can already play it. Well, that's not the point. The point isn't to learn the scale perfectly and you're done. The point is to solidify your proper technique so that you never have any sort of instance where the purpose is to solidify your technique so that as you begin to learn pieces, okay, nothing seems out of the realm of possibility. You have a solid foundation from which the pieces can be built up on, and they will be executed well, they will sound amazing, and there will be very few mistakes, okay? You won't have an instance where you come across a passage and you're like, oh my God, I hope I get this down. Especially, let's say if it's like a fast scalar passage, right? You don't have to worry about it because you can play your scales. It's no biggie, okay? What else did I mention? Oh, stepping outside yourself and listening. When you listen to yourself play, you can begin to hear little things that you may not have heard otherwise in the past. Because as you begin to listen critically, your ear starts to notice even the minute differences to where you're starting to realize that you're adjusting your fingers in your hand in a very, very slight manner, and your ear is going to be able to pick up on those differences. Okay, so now I know my nail got caught there. Okay, so definitely don't do this because otherwise my nail will catch. And being aware of those types of things is going to obviously help you play better as well. And the last thing, listening to yourself play and developing that critical ear is crucial in that you are listening to yourself play more than anybody else. More than obviously the audience that's listening to you play, more than your instructor, your private instructor, or your college instructor, or whatever. So developing that critical ear is a crucial part of the sort of practicing realm of musicians, right? You have to be able to hear what it is you're playing, and if you don't develop that critical ear, you're going to hear one thing, but the audience is going to hear something entirely different. Okay, so play the scales often, and all you're doing is you're just laying that solid foundation. That's all you're doing, and you're keeping it there, and you have to maintain it. So you have to be revisiting these scales on occasion, probably more often than not. Okay, so that foundation stays strong, so that your pieces can be on top of it. That's what I'm saying. If you don't practice your scales, your foundation it's going to be like a house of cards, where the pieces are there, but they start to crumble, and they can't keep building on there, and on you can't keep building on your improvements because you don't have that solid foundation, and that's what the scales provide. Okay, and it's not just the scales that can provide that. It's the picking pad. I'm just going off on a tangent now. Right hand exercises. Giuliani's 120 right hand exercises or something like that. That is another way to be practiced. That's another aspect of practicing where you're practicing different patterns, not scalar patterns, but arpeggio patterns. So that would be another aspect. But I think I'm just rambling at this point. But practice your scales, listen critically, and keep at it. Okay, they're that important. Okay, all right. So, I will see all of you guys in the next video, which will be on Monday. I am not doing a video tomorrow, so I will see all of you guys here Monday. All right, take it easy, practice, and take my advice to heart. Listen critically. All right, take care.